Hey guys, in this tutorial we're going to build a Pokédex, which is basically like an encyclopedia in the Pokemon universe with Upstreet. So I'm going to run a USDK create, and I'm going to use a shortcut this time to quickly generate an agent with just one prompt. Because I don't really care, I just want to edit the code. So there you go. Now that my agent is created, I'm going to open agent.tsx, which is the main entry point for our agent. First things first, I'm just going to commit this to GitHub. As you can see, it's all just normal React code. So we're going to start off by creating a Pokédex assistant component. This is going to be our custom component, which contains all our helper functions, and we're going to use different underlying base components of Upstreet to create this custom component. So first off, we're going to have AI write our function, which is fetch Pokemon details. It's going to use the Pokemon API, Poke API, which is a sort of open source and free API from where you can get like Pokemon information. So what I want my agent to do is basically filter out abilities and moves, and then basically tell me on every query what my Pokemon's abilities or moves are. I'm applying a sort of a hack. This may not be the most efficient way of filtering data, but yeah, for now we're just gonna fetch the Pokemon's information, and then from there we're gonna filter inside this agent and then return the data from there. The Pokemon information is really nested, so we have to make sure that we're not dumping too much data to our LLM, because it might overflow our prompt. It might get too big for the LLM to process. So we're going to have to shorten things a bit. So after cleaning up the previous code, we're now going to write a function for fetching the Pokemon's abilities. So it's going to be the same as our fetch Pokemon moves function. It's just going to extract the abilities instead. And now comes the interesting part. We're going to return a JSX element, and that JSX element is going to be composed of different base components from Upstreet. An important one to note is the action tag. The action tag basically lets the AI agent know that based on certain inputs, it can take this certain action. In this case, when it receives a Pokemon name, it can fetch the abilities of that Pokemon. So the action has a name, of course, as an identifier, description. This is fed to the LLM, and that allows it to make the decision of whether to use this or not. It has a schema. The schema is really important. It allows the LLM to identify the data types, the actual field names, etc., etc. The examples are also helpful in this regard. They guide the AI to generate the right inputs. In the handler, you define a function which runs every time this action is called. We're going to first extract the data. We assume that the Pokemon name will be passed because we've defined it in the schema. Next, we're going to fetch the abilities. Then we're going to run this through a sort of function called dedent, which basically appends this prompt to the previous prompt, which is already in the agent. And then we're going to run agent.monologue, which makes the agent speak that text. Similarly, we're going to create another function, which is for fetching the moves. And again, this is also going to be spoken by the agent. I have made some mistakes in the code, so I'm just going to go around fixing them and just skip directly to when it's fixed. So yeah, this is the updated code. I dereferenced the Pokemon name correctly now. And now all I gotta do is call this custom component inside my main agent JSX element. And yeah, let's give it a go. Let's test it out with USDK chat. Let's ask it about Charizard. And it seems to be thinking a lot. That's probably the API taking some time. And there we have it. We have Blazant, we have Blaze and Solar Power. So yeah, those were the moves. I'm just gonna add some debug logs just to see what the actual data is. So yeah, let's run it again. Thanks to hot reloading, we don't really have to restart the chat. So I'm just gonna ask a similar question again, but Charizard. This time I'm gonna ask for a bigger list. Let's see what it outputs. So yeah, our console log basically outputted the entire list, and it's got a lot of moves. Some of them are even hidden. So let's see what the AI comes up with. It seems like it's taking a lot of time. Oh, okay, makes sense. It's basically compiled almost all of the moves and in one big list. So that's pretty cool. Not bad. So yeah, that's how you create a Pokédex-like agent in Upstreet. And all you gotta do is just have one function which returns the Pokemon's entire data, two helper functions which extract the abilities and moves, and basically an action which contains a good schema, a simple schema with the Pokemon name and of course the examples and handlers. So yeah, that's about it. Thanks for watching.